Hey guys, for over 2 centuries, Oak Island has been the stage for one of the world's most enduring mysteries, the promise of hidden treasure buried deep beneath its surface. From whispered legends of pirate gold to speculation about sacred relics, the tiny island off Nova Scotia has lured explorers, scholars, and dreamers into its enigmatic grasp. For the Lagina brothers, Rick and Marty, and their dedicated team, this quest has become more than a pursuit of wealth. It's a mission to unravel history itself. And now, after years of effort, frustration, and fleeting clues, the garden shaft has delivered a shocking discovery that left the entire team stunned. The garden shaft sits in the heart of the Money Pit area, long believed to be the epicenter of the Oak Island mystery. For the past 2 years, evidence has hinted that a tunnel, possibly one of the original depositor tunnels, lay just below the 90-foot mark. The challenge was getting there safely. With the help of Dumas Contracting Limited, the team has been painstakingly reinforcing the shaft with wooden cribbing as they descend. Every new section brought them closer to their goal, but progress was slow. Finally, at a depth of about 93 feet, the brothers decided it was time to get their hands dirty. "We gotta excavate a bit more," explained Paul from Dumas. "Chip away at that clay, then set in the final cribbing. You're within a couple feet of something significant." For Rick and Marty, who had spent years directing operations from the surface, the opportunity to climb into the shaft and actually swing the tools was irresistible. It wasn't just about discovery, it was about heritage. Their grandfather had emigrated from Italy to work in the mines of Michigan. To be miners, even for a day, is kind of a confluence of heritage, Rick reflected, suited up and lowered into the dim, claustrophobic shaft. The Laginas grabbed pneumatic jackhammers and began to chip away at the stubborn clay. At nearly 70 pounds each, the tools were unwieldy, and the clay resisted with the toughness of concrete. Yet the brothers persevered, sweat and laughter mixing with the steady thrum of machinery. "This is no job for old men," Marty joked as he wrestled with the jackhammer, but exhaustion quickly gave way to exhilaration. As the clay broke apart, Rick felt something different beneath his spade bit, something softer, more promising. "Maybe I'm on a tunnel," he speculated, his voice filled with cautious excitement. The possibility electrified the shaft. Could this be the tunnel they'd been searching for? Once the clay was loosened, the hammer grab, a 3-ton tool designed to scoop out material, descended to clear the debris. The plan was simple: expose enough to see whether man-made structures lay below. Moments later, Paul's words confirmed the dream. "So it seems like we hit your target. Finally. Wood. At 95 feet deep. Unmistakable wood." The team quickly descended to inspect the find. As Rick probed with a bar, he felt resistance, then the unmistakable give of timber. Knocking against the structure produced a hollow sound that echoed through the shaft. "That's one of the beams," Rick declared, tapping again. The resonance was undeniable. A timber tunnel, hollow beneath, stretched just below their feet. The atmosphere shifted instantly. After years of speculation, false leads, and backbreaking effort, they were looking at physical evidence of a man-made tunnel. What struck the team most was the nature of the wood. These were not square beams left behind by modern searchers, but round timbers, the very kind described in the earliest accounts of the Money Pit. According to 19th century reports, the original shaft contained platforms of logs placed every 10 feet. Over the centuries, treasure hunters had repeatedly mentioned encountering round logs as they dug. To see them now, so deep beneath the garden shaft, suggested a direct connection to that legendary construction. "Round timbers are a great indication it's potentially old," said Scott Barlow. "You go back to the original story, and it's logs every 10 feet. That's the description," Craig Tester agreed. "If these were square timbers, I'd think we were looking at something from modern times. But round? That's original work." The connection was almost too powerful to ignore. The sonic drilling program had hinted at tunnels running toward the baby blob, a target area rich in gold and silver traces. Now the garden shaft seemed to intersect one of those very tunnels. For Rick, the find was deeply personal. If it was original, we're talking hundreds of years ago, he said, visibly moved. You get chills, you can't stop now. The journey had not been easy. 15 years of relentless effort had brought the team to this point, through setbacks, equipment failures, and countless disappointments. But in that moment, with his hand pressed against ancient timber, the dream of solving Oak Island's riddle felt within reach. Marty echoed his brother's sentiment. After 15 years, we may be just a few feet above original work. It could be it. It could be the thing. The entire team knew the implications. If the timbers marked the top of a tunnel, then beneath them might lie empty space leading toward the treasure chamber. The hollow sound suggested as much. All that remained was to extend the shaft further and expose more of the structure. The decision was unanimous. The garden shaft must go deeper. Another section of cribbing would allow the team to descend an additional 32 inches, bringing them squarely on top of the suspected tunnel. From there, they could investigate whether it connected to the money pit or the legendary flood tunnels, but the excitement was tempered with caution. The wood appeared collapsed in places and water seeped through the clay, making excavation risky. Still, the find was too significant to abandon. The board this way, if you pound on it, it sounds hollow, Rick explained. Like there's empty space below. That would be indicative of the top of the tunnel. Every knock on the timber seemed to carry the weight of history. Could this be the entrance to the original depositor's tunnel, carefully engineered centuries ago to conceal a treasure of unimaginable value? For the Oak Island team, this discovery is more than just a structural find. It's a potential turning point. For years, they have uncovered artifacts suggesting human activity long before the island was officially settled. Coins, tools, fragments of parchment, and traces of precious metals in underground water. Each clue pointed to something extraordinary, buried below. Now, with evidence of a man-made tunnel at the very depths where legends place the treasure, the pieces of the puzzle are aligning. It brings your mind back to those early stories, Rick said. Round logs in the original money pit, round logs in this feature. I don't just believe we're making progress, I know we are. As the season progresses, the garden shaft will once again become the focal point of operations. Extending the shaft, securing the walls, and carefully probing the timber tunnel could finally provide the breakthrough the Laginas have pursued for over a decade. The team knows they must balance excitement with discipline. A wrong move could collapse the fragile tunnel or flood the shaft, but with Dumas's expertise and their own determination, the brothers are ready to push forward. Yeah, it's going to be quite a day when we set eyes on it completely, Marty said, and perhaps when that day comes, the world will finally learn the truth about Oak Island. The discovery inside the garden shaft tunnel marks one of the most dramatic moments in the curse of Oak Island's long history. For Rick and Marty Lagina, it represents both a professional triumph and a deeply personal journey back to their roots. For viewers, it reignites the tantalizing possibility that the centuries-old mystery is on the verge of being solved. Whether the tunnel leads to treasure, historical artifacts, or yet another layer of intrigue, one thing is certain. Oak Island has not given up all its secrets, but it may be closer than ever. The garden shaft find has also reignited debate among historians and theorists about who might have constructed the original tunnel system. Was it pirates safeguarding their plunder? Members of the Knights Templar concealing sacred relics, or perhaps engineers from a lost civilization? Each possibility carries its own allure, and the presence of centuries-old timber at such depth suggests an organized and intentional effort far beyond casual digging. The craftsmanship required to lower round timbers and construct stable tunnels indicates a knowledge of mining and engineering that raises more questions about who exactly was operating on Oak Island so long ago. Equally fascinating is the potential connection between the garden shaft tunnel and the so-called flood system, described in early accounts. According to legend, ingenious traps were built to protect the treasure chamber by channeling seawater into the money pit. If the current shaft intersects one of those protective tunnels, it could explain both the collapsed timbers and the hollow spaces below. For the Laginas, Uncovering evidence of such engineering would not only validate centuries of lore, but also elevate Oak Island from mystery to marvel of historical ingenuity. The emotional impact of this moment is difficult to overstate. For Rick Lagina, whose passion for Oak Island was first sparked as a boy reading about the mystery in Reader's Digest, the sound of his hammer striking hollow wood was the culmination of a lifelong pursuit. For Marty, more pragmatic by nature, it was a moment when skepticism yielded to awe. Both brothers, united in their determination, now stand on the threshold of achieving what generations before them could only dream about: direct access to an original, centuries-old tunnel. Still, caution tempers their excitement. Centuries of collapses, water infiltration, and previous searcher efforts have left the underground unstable and unpredictable. One misstep could compromise the shaft or erase evidence critical to understanding its origins. The team must proceed, with both care and resolve, knowing that each decision carries consequences not only for their safety, but also for the integrity of the find. For Oak Island enthusiasts worldwide, patience is part of the journey, but the anticipation grows sharper with every new revelation. What happens if the tunnel leads directly toward the baby blob area, where scientific testing has already revealed traces of silver and gold? Such a convergence of evidence, structural, material, and historical, would make it difficult to deny that something of value was deliberately hidden beneath Oak Island. Whether it proves to be treasure in the literal sense or artifacts of immense historical importance, the discovery could rewrite the narrative not just of the island, but of transatlantic history itself. For now, the garden shaft stands as a symbol of both progress and possibility. It embodies the perseverance of the Oak Island team, their willingness to put boots on the ground and in the clay in pursuit of answers. Each thud of the hammer against timber echoes across centuries, bringing the past into the present. As Rick so aptly put it, "You can't stop now." With the shaft poised to extend deeper and the tunnel waiting to reveal its secrets, the stage is set for perhaps the most significant chapter yet in the saga of Oak Island.